Hi, this is Joe again with another review. And for the sake of this video, I'm going to be doing the review of 2017 film Wonder Woman. Well, I know I promised to continue doing in my last video to continue reviewing the last two films of the Die Hard series, but I'm going to be eventually going to get to it. Hopefully, do it by this week. Hopefully. But I figured do the Wonder Woman movie first, and then eventually get to the Die Hard, the last two films of the Die Hard series. Hopefully this week I'll get to it. Maybe if I have time this week to do it. But for this video, I'm going to be concentrating on the 2017 film Wonder Woman, starring Gal Gadot and Chris Pine. Of course, this movie was huge, and HBO just had it on for the first time this past Saturday night. And I'm surprised, before I get into the heart of the movie, I'm surprised that HBO allowed me to see it. The reason is because I'm a guy. To watch Wonder Woman. The reason why I said that is because, I know it's a stupid comment to make, but the reason why I said it is because of the fact that, hey, there were several movie theater chains across the country in the United States, particularly here in New York, who only had women-only screenings for Wonder Woman. I know it wasn't every movie theater in New York, but occasionally there were several movie theaters in across the country who had only women-only screenings for like either the first weekend or the first night that the movie was out. Only women-only screenings, and that's it. Because they felt that women should only see Wonder Woman, and that's it. No men allowed. But I know that somebody brought her husband along. I'm not going to mention the name. An old friend of ours from high school went to see it with her husband, and they allowed them in. I said, how can you let them in? They only women were allowed to see it. So I'm glad that HBO does not restrict only women-only screenings on HBO to see this movie. It's for everybody who happen to have HBO. So now on to the movie itself. It's not a bad movie. I feel they should have focused more on the plot and then hype the action scenes at the end. That's the problem with recent superhero movies, particularly the DC Universe movies, especially with the Batman and Superman film, which introduced Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman in that film, but they focus so much more on the action scenes because they feel that superhero movies should focus on the action and not so much the plot. I am the opposite. I figured they should focus on the plot and then build up to the big action scene in the end. But despite that one little nitpick, there's actually two nitpicks I have with this film. That was the first one. The second one is, of course, anybody who knows anything about the Wonder Woman comics. Unfortunately, I never bought the comics books. I never bought any. Excuse the noise. If you hear banging in the background, that's from the apartment upstairs. I think they're putting on new floors and new carpeting in. So if you happen to hear the banging sound, that's what it is. So please, I'm trying to speak over it. The other nitpick of the Wonder Woman film is the actual comic. When Wonder Woman comic story back in the 1940s. It was Wonder Woman fighting the Nazis, and during World War II. A lot of the superhero comics, especially from the DC comics, was started before Marvel. I think Marvel started maybe in the 1950s, but or maybe even the early 60s. But most of the DC comics superheroes at that time, like Superman, Flash, whomever, they were fighting the Nazis. Practically all of them. And Wonder Woman was no different. When she was created, I think in 1940, 1941, she was fighting the Nazis. And during World War II. But the Wonder Woman movie, it was from World War I. I don't know why they made that change for the film. I mean, she was still fighting Germans. I mean, they consistently kept that part of the storyline. But it was during World War II, not World War I. So, but for the film, they made World War I for some reason. I think maybe because in the Batman Superman movie they made reference to it that she was actually older, older than she was, or Diana Prince was older than she was. There's an old picture of her from like World War One, and instead of World War Two, it said World War One or something, and they continued that in the Wonder Woman movie, and that's actually where the movie picks up actually, because there was this photograph that was found during the Batman Superman film of Diana Prince in an auction or something when she took that picture, and when the movie starts is Diana, played by Gal Gadot, had the picture that was referenced in the Batman Superman vs. Superman film, and practically the rest of the film is sort of flashbacks talking about that moment that was in that photograph. And Chris Pine, who of course most people know who Chris Pine is now for playing Captain Kirk in the Star Trek reboot films, the 3 films they made with Chris Pine as Captain Kirk, plays Steve Trevor, who of course not only was Diana's love interest, not only in the comics but also kind of in the television show as well, which I was actually a big fan of the television show because I grew up watching the TV show in the 70s. That's how far back I go, and I had a huge crush on Linda Carter. But I felt it would have been damn cool if you had a cameo of Linda Carter in this movie. In my opinion, I think it would have been cool if you had a cameo of Linda Carter. TV's one, the other famous woman who ever played this part, but they didn't do that, and they chose not to do that in this film. Well, this film starts off with Diana, and after the goes to the flashback, is Diana as a child growing up on. And they didn't even call it Paradise Island. In the comic books and the television show and the various cartoons versions of Wonder Woman, according to the Justice League and the Justice League Unlimited cartoons, it was called Paradise Island. For some reason they call it something else, some Greek name, and it's impossible to pronounce. Where all the Amazons live, and it's secluded, it's protected by like this fog barrier or something. And Steve, played by Chris Pine, was a spy for England, not for the United States, but for England, in Germany, trying to stop the Germans from making this gas, using chemical weapons against England and Germany's enemies during World War One. And he stole a German plane, and it crashed off the coast of Paradise Island, and Diana saw the plane crash and goes and rescues him and saves his life. And of course she got a whole bunch of flack for saving his life because they were all against men and stuff. Well, the Amazons were against men, they didn't defend men, but they went to defend the world and stuff. So Diana convinces him, look, I saved his life. He says there's a big war going on, and they feel that it's Ares coming back, or the god of war, setting this war into action. So we have to stop Ares. We're sworn in defense to stop Ares, and we have to stop him. And so what do you want to work with a man for to stop this guy? As well, he's the best shot I have of maybe fighting him and defeating him and killing him. So okay. And the queen, which is Diana's mother, agrees to it. But what they should have had in this movie was actually hold Diana's whole backstory with how she was created in the first place. Since there's no men, how can her mother be pregnant with Diana? Well, Diana's mother says, "Oh, we created you out of clay, or Zeus created you out of clay, and built this whole clay thing, and Zeus with a lightning bolt brought you to life, to use as a weapon against Zeus." So that's the whole thing. It would have been cool to see that, actually physically see that, instead of Diana being told the story. And the audience for telling the audience the story. But that's just me. And So anyway, long story short, she gets sent out to the road with Steve and to go out and to go eventually get to England, deliver the book, and it says, okay, let's try to stop the Germans and destroy the chemical plants. Right? If there's more than one plant to destroy, so and that's what they do, and pretty much the rest of the movie is like action scenes, and Diana. And it was like more than an hour into the movie when you actually see Diana in the full Wonder Woman on the modernized or the redesign the outfit for the movie compared to the television series and the comic books and the cartoons. They redesigned the outfit for the movie, and it was like I said, it's more than an hour into the movie when you finally see her in the outfit or in the iconic Wonder Woman outfit. And they should also mention at this point that she was never called Wonder Woman throughout this movie. Never, not once was she ever referred to as Wonder Woman. Or somebody said, boy, she's really a Wonder Woman. Or one of the German soldiers said, boy, she's really a Wonder Woman to do this stuff. And that is not referenced. Nobody's ever called her Wonder Woman through this movie. They all call her Diana. Or Diana Prince or Miss Prince. And that type of thing throughout this film. Well, anyway, Diana was convinced that the head German general in this film was Ares. She was convinced that this guy was Ares. And Chris Pine tried to talk about it. It's like, well, it's great that you want to defeat this guy, and so do I. But there's no real proof. I don't think a gut instinct that this guy is Ares. And he says, well, that's because he said this whole war into action, doesn't want the war to end, and use chemicals on the people and everything. So it says, okay, if you feel so strongly about it, okay, I back you up on this. And eventually, they do have this big fight scene, or Diana has this big fight scene with this German general. And she, of course, eventually kills him with a sword. They say, oh, you have to use this sword on Ares, because this sword was made to destroy gods, or to kill Ares. So he says, okay, fine, whatever. And then finds out, big shock, that the German general was not Ares, but a guy who was working for the British government was Ares. So that's a big plot twist. For those of you, major spoiler if you did not, excuse me, for those of you who did not see this movie, it was a big spoiler. And then that's when you had a real big fight scene between Ares and Diana, or Wonder Woman. You see Ares in the god outfit, kind of like Loki, from Thor. When you see him in the outfit and the helmet and all that stuff. And I have to admit, it was a pretty damn good fight scene. And Diana first used the sword. The sword didn't work. You know why? Because she is the weapon to destroy Ares. And then she finally finds that out, that she was the weapon to destroy Ares. She was created to destroy Ares, and that's it. And I'm like, really? And I think maybe because it was too quick, because she immediately used the sword on Ares and the sword did not work. I figured, how come it didn't work? And I'm like that along with Diana as I was watching the movie, so how come it didn't work? Well, it was found out that, hey, she's the weapon. And then she finds out she was the weapon and the sword was just bullshit. It was just a bullshit subplot, that the sword will work and all that type of thing. Well, it's like a real big, huh? I mean, it's like, come on. I mean, the Raiders could be a little more creative with the fight scene. You have a sword fight scene. That would have been better, and then she would use the sword and then kill Ares, and the fight is over. But they decided to do that little plot twist. At the end of the film, it's like another plot twist. It's like the second half of the movie is like one twist as another, especially towards the end of the movie. But other than those nitpicks, that fight scene was pretty damn good for a superhero movie, considering the disaster it was when the Batman Superman movie was just one big fight scene after another. This one had a similar problem, but it wasn't as much. I mean, you do have a little bit of a breather couple of breathers before you had the big fight scene in the end. But you did have one big fight scene in the village as well. But at least you had a couple of little moments. You did have some moments where you could go catch your breath between the action scenes. But with Wonder Woman, it was really, it focused way too much on the action and the special effects stuff. And that's the power of the more modern superhero films compared to the ones that I grew up with, like the Superman films with Christopher Reeve, and even the Spider-Man films with Tobey Maguire. Even though it was heavily in CGI, at least it built up to the action scenes. And it focused more on the plot than the special effects and the action. Even though the action scenes were great, but it built up to it. Wonder Woman is like you constantly had to have more and more action as the movie went on. And I thought that the film, where I should also mention, continue talking about the film, that Chris Pine, Steve sacrificed himself because he had all the bottles of this gas on the plane, on this cargo plane, and they were going to be dropped down and kill as many people as they could. So Chris Pine took the plane and he dispatched all the German soldiers that was on that plane, one after the other, including the pilot, and he flew. It's kind of similar to what happened in The Dark Knight Rises when Batman flew the plane out of Gotham City and the plane blew up. This was similar, but unlike in The Dark Knight Rises, Steve Trevor dies. Not a spoiler, and of course Diana is upset over it because she actually fell in love with him, and she said, "Oh, I love you," and they actually did have a sequence where they confessed their love to each other. And I'm going to bang on their head in a second. When they had the confessed their love for each other, and Diana realized there wasn't just power and strength and physical ability, but also you feel that love is also a factor in defeating your enemies. So that's what they had. That's what Diana learned. That you also have to need love, other than being physical and having the strength and being physical and defeating your enemies. You also have love to inspire you to defeat your enemies, and that's what she learned. And of course, in the end of the film, goes back to her looking at that picture that was in the Batman Superman film, and and she goes back and defeat evil in the end of the film, and that's how the film ended. Gal Gadot gave a terrific performance. I mean, you can't get much. I mean, it's kind of like what Christopher Reeve, the performance that he gave in Superman, even though it was more comedic as well as serious. Gal Gadot was so serious, and not only that, but she was gorgeous to look at. But not only that, because she used to be a model before she became an actress. And also another thing about Wonder Woman is that a lot of Arab Muslim countries refuse to have this movie in their country. And you say, oh, how come? Well, it's not because the main character is a woman, or that she's wearing the sexy Wonder Woman costume that leaves very little to the imagination. Very low cut and everything else, and a short and no short legs and bare shoulders and stuff. But because the Gal Gadot, who of course plays the part, is an Israeli-born citizen. She was born and raised in Israel, and you see the thick Israeli accent that she has. So even though she tries to hide it in the movie, trying to speak more without the accent, but she has such a thick Israeli accent that people in Arab countries did not want to broadcast this movie because she's an Israeli. And they do not consider Israel, they do not recognize the existence of Israel. The majority of the Muslim world does not recognize Israel. So because of that, they do not want this movie being played in their countries because of Gal Gadot's Israeli heritage. And she fought in the Israeli army, actually, when she was like a teenager. When she came of age, to be in the Israeli military. Because any Israeli-born citizen who was born and raised in the country of Israel, you have to be in the military. No matter if you're male or female, you have to be in the military, no matter what, because they have such a small population. Everybody is drafted in the military. The only one who got away out of it was Natalie Portman, because her family moved to the country when she was about 3 years old. But everybody else has to fight or at least serve time in the Israeli military. And Gal Gadot fought in the Israeli military, so she is a real hero. Not just in the made world of Wonder Woman, but in reality as well. She's a real life hero. That's the other reason why she was not nominated for a Golden Globe or an Oscar for playing Wonder Woman, because she's an Israeli, and most of the liberal media or the liberal news media on the Hollywood phonies do not want to vote for her because she's an Israeli. So they're so anti-Semitic. Even though the irony is that there are a lot of Jewish entertainers, Jewish actors, and Jewish producers and stuff, they do not want to have or vote for an Israeli-born actress for an Oscar. Even though they gave Natalie Portman an Oscar for Black Swan, she's Israeli-born. But she was raised in the United States, so they gave her a pass. But not for Gal Gadot, which is going to show you how phony Hollywood is. So I know I went on a little bit of a tangent there, but that's my review of the movie Wonder Woman. Please click on the video, please rate it, feel free to comment on it. Please subscribe to my channel, please forward this video onto your Facebook pages. You can check out all my videos on my YouTube channel at rowdyc.com, that's all WDY. Rowdyc.com. Homepage of the Rowdy Reviewer, Christy Moore. Please check out all of his videos on his website. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.